Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wealth Flow with the Black Mentor. My name is Joseph Nantomah, the Black Mentor. On Wealth Flow with the Black Mentor, we always bring you tips, support, and every single gist out there that's going to help you to become wealthy. And today, as usual, I have Mike in the studios with me. Mike, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much.
You know, it's a beautiful season. Summer is here, weather very hot, especially in Milwaukee. We've been looking for the sun for many, many moons, and finally it's here. Are you excited about the weather?
I love the weather. I'm not dressed for it. I'd rather be dressed, in shorts and a T-shirt, like you say, when I look like a Boy Scout.
However, that is good news, but, the not so good news is we're seeing all over the news, recession is coming.
Recession is coming.
And that is what I want us to talk about today. How can you be prepared for recession? Everybody's talking about the recession, but what most people are not talking about is how do you get prepared for recession? And I'm going to come to the question,
Okay.
How do you get prepared for recession? People say, Rome was not built in a day. And I always tell them jokingly, I said, if I was there, maybe it would have been built in a day because I would have come up with strategies and, and ideas. So in 2008, there was a recession in the United States. I wasn't in the United States in 2008. But what I sure know is that the people that were hit the most were those who weren't prepared. Because from my experience as a business person, as a coach, I know that when you're truly prepared and impact comes, you will be able to brace it. But when you're not prepared, you can't brace it. So everybody's screaming recession. And what is it that we have to do to be able to brace this recession just in case it comes?
All right. Thank you, Joseph. The first thing we have to do is understand that we're not used to recessions. We're used to things going forward, getting better, growing. That's what we're used to.
Yeah.
Recession, all that reverses. That means our thinking has to reverse. We have to adopt new strategies and new ways of thinking to cope with the new situation. Mm-hmm. So what we've been doing up till now, where we put our money, how we expect it to grow, is going to change. It must change. All right. So first off is the mindset. First off is understanding that we are going to adopt new ways of thinking, which allow us new actions.
New actions, very important. Because, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, right?
Especially when you're, if you're used to downhill skiing and you want to go water skiing, it's hard to find a lake with a slope.
Exactly.
You've got to change what you're doing, even though the skiing is the same.
And it's really, really, this is a deeper thing. If you want to look into this a little bit deeper, people don't like change. And I don't understand why, but, because I know right from when I was in high school that the only thing that is constant in life is change. But people don't really like change. And I think that is why a lot of people are going to be hit so bad because, the truth of the matter is it's either you're doing something different or you're coming up with a new strategy, that's going to just, withstand the market because mainstream and Wall Street, everybody's saying a recession is coming. For those who are in real estate, if that is a whole different discussion. You're going to have a field day because if you're in real estate, and I'm not talking about buying a house to live in, I'm talking about if you're buying a house as an investor, you are out. You're going to cash out. You're going to live very, very well. You're going to be fine. But, let's take it step by step. Mindset. To every single thing in life, mindset is the key. So what kind of mindset do you think we should start developing? People are saying between now and maybe sometime in July to September, the recession is going to kick in. What kind of mindset should we be developing between now and then?
Okay. First off is understanding what's going to happen to the dollar. And the dollar is going to shrink in value considerably. Okay, right now we're at 7 or 8% inflation. That means if you started off the year at $100,000, at the end of the year, that $100,000 is only worth $93,000. If we stay at 7%, the following year it's only going to be worth $86,000. All right. So the way we beat inflation is to pay money that's constantly shrinking. So we want to buy something of value now and pay in shrinking dollars. Okay, so if I buy a $100,000 house now and I pay for it in 2 years, I'm only paying 86 cents on the dollar. If I pay over a 30-year mortgage, by the end of 30 years, I'm paying 4 cents on the dollar. So I want to pay for my stuff with shrinking dollars, which is exactly what's going to happen. So the question is how do I get something of value that makes me valuable today that I can pay off in shrinking dollars
in the future?
So that is, I think, one of the most important things, that we have to understand that in this situation, long-term debt is our friend.
Exactly. Now, with what you just said, it brings to mind when people talk about debt, because right in our face, you just threw at us and say, hey, to be able to overcome recession, you need a long-time debt. Am I correct?
Yep.
I just said that in a layman's language. But some people tell you, hey, debt is bad. They're like, my mama taught me never to go into debt. Why are you saying for me to beat recession, I have to go into debt?
Well, okay, let's imagine that I've got $100,000 under my mattress. All right? That means at the end of next year, it's worth $93,000. Still 100,000 pieces of paper, right? But it's only worth $93,000. Next year, it's worth $86,000. Next year, it's worth $79,000. Okay.
That is assuming the inflation and all that keeps going, right?
Inflation is killing it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if I don't have the money, but I've got property,
which is asset now,
which is an asset, but the money I owe is shrinking,
that
long-term debt is in my favor because I'm paying back with cheaper and cheaper and cheaper
money.
dollars.
Yeah.
Why not buy $100,000 something today and pay for it with 4 cents on the dollar years from now?
Exactly.
All right.
But these are information that you don't pick on the street. This is not the kind of information you go into the bar and somebody sitting down there sipping martini or sipping a Kool-Aid and they discuss with you. Don't you think this is what the government or, I don't know, coaches out there or leaders should be telling people to take advantage of? I mean, I don't know, why are we not discussing these things? These are the things they're supposed to bring on all the media. These are the things they should be telling people.
Because people don't know. And some of this is very obscure. So I'm going to define a situation for you. You're in real estate. You can help people facilitate this. All right?
Yeah.
I've got, say, a $500,000 house. Well, if I get into debt for $500,000, I'm on the line for that. So how do I get a $500,000 house, pay off with cheaper dollars, but not go in debt for $500,000? I get to pay off in cheaper dollars, but it's not my debt. How do I get that house, pay off in cheaper dollars, and not have to put up $500,000 to get that house or commit to $500,000? So that's what you can help people with, and I'm going to explain a situation where you can actually help people get out of a bad situation and actually wind up with a valuable house, paying it off with cheaper dollars.
I understand what you're saying, Mike. I'm already doing it. We're doing it. But the truth is, I'm just one man in the whole America, I just really feel sorry for a lot of people out there because when this recession hit, especially the lower class, those who are going to be kicked out of work, because what happens during inflation that people don't, and this is why we keep telling people out there that, you need to get information. You need to understand what is going on in the economy. What happens during inflation is businesses start losing money. Money is not coming in anymore. And the moment money is no more coming, what happens is businesses are going to lay off people, right? Because now money is not coming to pay people. Now they're going to lay off, maybe cut their staff by 50%. So some of those people are going to be sitting down at home, not getting a job. But guess what? Your bills are still going to be coming in, okay? With inflation, the milk you bought 4 years ago at $1.25 is going to go up to maybe $3 or $4 by 44%, something like that. And if you don't understand these numbers, you don't have a reserve, maybe 3 to 6 months money to feed your family and to pay your rent, the question is what next?
That is a tough one because now we're talking to people who didn't have a reserve to start with. When reserves are drying up, if you didn't start with a reserve, where do you get one when it's drying up? So what I'm going to suggest is that anybody in a falling market, if they know what to do, can make money.
Of course, right in the middle, I said it a dozen times, right in the middle of COVID was when our business blew up because, people were selling and I was buying. People were selling and I was buying real estate at the time. But, the people we're talking about here, most people who want to go from zero to build wealth. Don't forget we're talking about the wealth flow, right? The question is people don't know and they're just sitting out there. Some people don't even know the definition of inflation.
Well,
So I think a lot of leaders out there, instead of just sitting down and, talking about the theoretical aspect of it, how inflation is coming, I think people should start getting out there and actually teaching people, hey, this is the time to start investing. This is the time to start, putting some businesses in place. For example, during inflation season, commodities sell. If you have a little store where you're selling food item, because the first thing that comes on the budget during inflation is food. Everybody's got to eat. So people like Walmart and all those other guys, the guys on the street that are having departmental shops and malls, they're going to still make money, because the first thing is people want to eat. They're going to eat. Then number two, people are going to have to put on clothes. And number three, people are going to have shelter. And that's where I fall in. The recession is not going to hit me because the guy who is working in the mall, who is working in the, who's working in the factory, is going to pay my rent. And if things get too expensive, I just raise up my rent.
Well, that's true. That's true. But that's from your side, you can raise your rent. Let's take the guy who is in real trouble. Okay? He's falling behind. He's behind on his mortgage. And he possibly could be foreclosed on. Okay. As a real estate investor, you can make that situation work for him as well as it works for you. It'll work better for you, I got that, but it will work for him also. Now here's how this works. You go down to the courthouse and you find out that I'm in foreclosure, going into foreclosure.
Yeah.
All right, because that's a public record. When somebody's 3 months behind on their payments, the bank files that in an open forum, and you can see that at the courthouse. So you come to me and you say, Mike, have you tried this? Have you tried this? There's about 7 things you can do to stop a foreclosure.
Yeah.
Well, for most people, they've tried those 7 things.
Which are, maybe you put it out there. What are
Well, there's only one I'm really concerned about. Okay. So let's say I've tried 6 of the 7. And I can't, I went to my family, I went to my friends, nobody can lend me money. I went to the bank to try to reorganize the loan, they won't do it. I offered to give them keys for cash. They said, no, we don't need the house. There's tons of things that you can try, including bankruptcy. By the time you get to me, I've probably tried all those things.
Okay.
Okay. So you say, Mike, I can't save your house. Okay. You're going to lose the house possibly to the bank, but you don't have to lose it to the bank, because if you lose your house to the bank, you will wind up with a foreclosure on your record.
Correct.
And foreclosures last forever. Bankruptcies go away in 7 years. Foreclosures stay on your record forever. That affects your credit.
What about if he's in a business?
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you say to me, Mike, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pay your mortgage for you. You're behind, I'm going to bring that mortgage current, and I'm going to pay that mortgage. You have to move out. You're going to lose the house. You can either lose it to the bank or you can lose it to you. But if you lose it to Joseph, Joseph is going to pay those mortgages, and my credit's going to rebuild while I'm off making my life brand new.
Correct.
And in 2 or 3 years, because you'll have rented the property out, the renter is actually paying the mortgage.
Correct.
Right? That's what we invest for, right?
Invest for, yep.
Okay. In 2 or 3 years, you can sell the house, maybe give me a little bit more at the back end, however you want to deal with the guy. But my life is improving because you stepped in and saved me from the bank.
From the bank.
And that's called a subject to transaction.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is, let's say I'm 4 months behind on my mortgage. You make that up, that's what, $4,000 or $5,000. The house needs a little spruce up, maybe $1,500. Okay, just a little paint, whatever. And you're going to give me a little bit to move on. So maybe that's $1,000.
Correct.
So now you got, say, a $250,000 house for $7,000. But the beauty of it is you're paying that mortgage off with decreasing value dollars. So you didn't put $250,000 or put up $250,000
Correct.
for a $250,000 house. You got it for $8,000-9,000.
Correct.
You're getting rental income, and the house should appreciate. But even if it doesn't, you got $8,000 into a $250,000 house.
Yeah.
And I'm happy because you're improving my credit while I'm off making a new life for myself.
Correct. So there are certain information and strategies that are needed, to put people on top. And the truth of the matter, not everybody can do it, but there are so many people out there that are going to be hit. There are so many people that are going to go out there. Can you give 2 clear strategies on how we can get ready when this thing hit? What are 2 things people should be doing now?
Well, number 1 is get in real estate. Get in touch with you, okay? Because you can set them up to start doing that, even if it's a small amount of money. There's a beautiful thing called leverage.
Yep, leverage.
Okay? So how many of your clients already have come to you with $10,000, $12,000, $15,000?
Correct.
And you've
used that
built
to leverage.
Okay, so you've leveraged that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is there is a function that we in real estate, and it's illegal to say this in some states, but we call it bird dogging. Now, if in your state that's illegal, we don't call it bird dogging.
Yeah.
We call it something else.
We call it something else.
Call it property finders.
Yeah.
But you can go out and find properties that you can then take to somebody like Joseph and say, here's a situation. These people have moved out. The woman's in the nursing home. Somebody died. My neighbors are getting divorced. There's tons of things that make properties come available that people can earn money
from
getting the property.
It could even be wholesaling. Let's use wholesaling. Like, a lot of us started real estate doing wholesaling. You get the training, you want to put capital together. The fastest way is doing wholesaling. You start bringing some money, then from wholesaling you go into fix and flip, and you put in all this money. Then from there we got into investment. So first and foremost, you said, well, what do? You get into real estate. Number 2, you go out there, you hunt, and try to get into business. Now, it is easier said than done. People want to know that they have proven tactics that is working. And we know from experience that a lot of people have been successful doing real estate, and that's why we push real estate. Not because we just love it, but we know that people do that. And the truth of the matter is, with real estate, you can grow very, very fast, right? And a lot of people are not talking about it, but we just wanted to put it out there to say, how can you do that? Then talk about taxes. How is this going to affect, people's taxes? What are the things we should be doing in areas of taxes? What are the tax tactics that people should start putting in place to get this thing going?
So if you are a sole proprietor, that is, you haven't set up a business entity and you're just declaring everything on your Schedule C, I made some money, I declared it on my family business, the IRS is gunning for you. They are gunning for you. 80% of the sole proprietors out there get audited. And the IRS collects more money from them than anybody else because you're small and you probably don't have the wherewithal to hire a good tax attorney or better than an accountant would be what's called an enrolled agent. You don't have the money for that. So the IRS knows they can come and just cherry pick. Yep. So the first thing you want to do is form a business entity. And in the United States, the business entity you want to form is an LLC.
LLC.
And we've talked about this many times. I cannot stress enough. If you're going to be in business, you need an LLC. Now, there's some steps you need to take to make sure your LLC is structured properly. Okay, and we don't have time to go through those.
Yeah, come to the training. We tell you that.
And Joseph knows them, and he helps people set them up. But if your LLC is set up properly, you're bulletproof from litigation. So nobody can sue you from the business side. Or if you get sued personally, your business is safe from a car accident or your dog biting or whatever. So you get yourself set up properly. Then there are tax advantages to having an LLC over a sole proprietor. And there's tons of things you can do. You can pay your spouse, even if they're not involved in the business. You pay your spouse and you cut your self-employment tax in half. You can pay your kids, as somebody I know does on a regular basis.
Yeah, my kids are on vacation now, and trust me, they've been shredding papers, and they're going to be paid.
They get paid.
Yeah.
So each of your kids can get up to $12,400 a year. That comes right off the top of your income. That's a tax deduction right away, and your kid's income is tax-free to your household. So there's tons of things like that. I just worked with some people today. We figured out how you can earn $192,000 profit and still be in a 12% tax bracket.
Amazing. I want to get at more information. Another thing that came on my table, and most people probably not discuss this out there, is offshore business.
Offshore business.
So 4 days ago, I bought my first property with Global Investors Capital now. We bought a property in Cayman Islands for $250,000. The projection is in the next 5, 6, 10 years, that property is going to go up to $700,000. Now, the structure that's going to be on that property is going to be given to us by our bank offshore. Very low interest rate. Now, however, they said, if we bank with them, do all that we need to do, we have a certain amount. Their interest rate is going all the way from 8% to 16% a year. Now, when a lot of people hear offshore account, the first thing that comes to the layman is, oh, they want to hide money. But, business has gone beyond just hiding money now. It's all about working smart. I mean, if I put my money in a U.S. bank and recession is coming and we're saying the dollar is going to flatten, we're going to lose value, I think it's beginning to make sense for people to look into offshore where they can do businesses and tap into the international market and try to save some money for themselves. What do you think?
I think that's absolutely accurate. Couple of things on that. Number one is it's called arbitrage, but when the dollar changes value with whatever economy you're working with, there's ways to make money there.
Correct.
Okay. Number two, you said their interest rate could go from 8 to 16% in a year.
Yeah.
If the deal's structured correctly, 16% is not that expensive.
Correct.
Okay. That sounds weird, but again, we need a different mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 4% is what I got on my house. Yeah, I got that. We're in
No,
the
when
United
I say
States.
interest, I'm talking about interest on your money.
Oh, the interest on the money.
When you put your money out there in the bank, let's say you put $1 million, they're saying you put in $1 million in a fixed deposit somewhere in Cayman Island, for example, you get up to from 8% interest up to 16%.
Up to 16%. Well, but even like I was saying, even if it is a 16% on the cost of money, that still can be very profitable.
Correct.
Okay. I just put together a deal today. Not quite 16%, but 5 points and 10%, which is a hard money loan.
Yep, which is great.
Comes right in at right around 16%.
16%, yeah.
And the guy will make about $46,000, $47,000 on the deal.
Sweet. So so these are the things that people should start preparing, and I think in the coming days, coming months, we're going to hit more on this because we want to get people prepared. Recession is coming, yes, but you have to be prepared, and that is what we're trying to do here. Trying to bring out project in this program, Wealth Flow with the Black Mentor. We want to get you prepared. We want to make you wealthy because there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy, and we not just want to make money and go to bed. We want to make money and affect as many people as possible because the number one thing that you need to be successful is actually information. And if you have the right information, you're good. Any last words before we wrap up?
Two things. Number one is taxes. Reducing your taxes is critical. So if you take $1 this year and you double it every year for 20 years.
Compound.
Just double it.
Just double it.
Double it. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16.
Yep.
In 20 years, you will have $1,048,000 and some change.
Who knows that? Most
Now,
people don't know that.
If you're in a 25% tax bracket, that is, you double your dollar, but you got to pay 25 cents out of that dollar you double. So at the end of the year, you got $1.75, not $2. Okay. And the next year, you don't have $1.75, you got $1.37. Okay. If you have paid 25% out of each of those doubles in 20 years, you don't have $1 million. You have $75,000. 25% tax bracket just cost you over $1 million.
Amazing.
taxes is number one. You have to control what you pay in taxes. Number two, you don't need to make a lot of money. If you help enough people, you will make all the money you need. It's better to earn 1% on 100 people's efforts than 100% of your own.
Amazing. So, and that is where collaboration and, you know, working together and taking action comes to play, because in this recession, it is very, very important that you're taking action, and not just taking action, you're taking action with knowledge, precision, and you're just moving forward and, you know, collaborating with people that are going to move your life forward. So that is what we're here to do on Wealth Flow with the Black Mentor. We're here to give you all the information, the tips, and all the inside gist that you're going to need to prepare for yourself just in case a recession hits. So number one, prepare yourself, get a business. Get a business, get into real estate, find ways to leverage, you know, monies, take action, and do all that you got to do. And with that, you will be bulletproof, you'll be ready, and we'll go through this whole season and come out on the other side stronger.
It's inevitable that if you take those steps, you will succeed.
And that is what we're going to be doing. Thank you very much. If you love this video, like, share, and comment in the section. And let us know if you have other tips that we can use to go through the recession. Thank you very much.